Hello and welcome to the Gimme a Whole Year podcast. I'm Ant.
And I'm Dom.
Gimme a whole year, Dom.
Oh, yeah.
If that didn't wake you up, nothing will. Today we're looking at Wrestlemania 4 from 1988. First of all, a massive thank you to Viking Size. You're laughing. What's up?
I just do every time I do that introduction. I feel both brilliant and ridiculous at the same time. I think that's what our podcast should make people feel.
Brilliant and ridiculous at the same time.
Yeah.
We're encouraging our audience to feel ridiculous.
And brilliant.
And brilliant. Okay, cool. Awesome. That works. First of all, a massive thank you to Viking Size Gamer. Give us a shout out on his channel.
What a solid name.
Viking Size Gamer. He's awesome. Gamer. He does a lot of videos on 2K17, but he's also looking at 2K18. He's got a really good exclusive on 3 British wrestlers who have been scanned for 2K18.
Ooh.
So go check his video if you want to find out who they are. And maybe one day we'll have a tournament with him or something like that.
Yeah, I'm excited about all this fancy information. I'm going to go and check it out myself. That's good. And let's do it. Let's do a tournament.
So thank you very much.
Shout out. Yeah. Let's take on any and all comers.
Absolutely.
Fucking fail miserably.
Maybe we can 2-on-1 everyone. I still don't think we'd win.
That's probably not the first time we've offered people that.
That's a patron exclusive.
We're going to double team you all. We'll double team everybody.
So we're looking today at WrestleMania 4, which had 16 matches on the card. It was on March the 27th, 1988, the same night as Starrcade. Vince McMahon loved to go against his competition, as it proved later on.
He was an egotistical. Well, he still is an egotistical bugger.
Do you know who the match was? No, sorry, it wasn't Starrcade. It was Clash of Champions. Do you know who was fighting at Clash of Champions? Ric Flair and Sting. Woo! Which I think would have been would have been great actually. I need to go and watch that.
Should we defect? Should we pull a Lex Luger and go to WCW?
Maybe eventually.
And a Rick Rude and whoever the fuck.
And everyone else. Scott Hall, Diesel,
all of them.
Brutus the Barber Beef, everyone that was older.
Yeah.
And couldn't keep up with the Attitude Era, could you?
We'll defect and we'll betray our roots and we'll call it "Give Me a Ghoul, yeah."
Give me a ghoul, yeah. Brilliant.
Or give me a scunny, yeah.
So the tournament at WrestleMania 4 is based on a 16-man tournament to crown the new WWF champion after it was taken off Million Dollar Man, because when Andre beat Hogan, he sold it to Million Dollar Man. One
of the greatest heel moves in wrestling history.
Instant heel. Come in. Totally. And no, other people have tried that gimmick and it has never come off as good as Ted Dibiase.
I am aware that you're right, but who else comes to mind? Apart from his son, because his son tried it, didn't he, when he came in?
Yes.
Ted Dibiase Jr. Didn't really work too well.
Let us know in the comments below, unless we think of someone.
Give me your opinion, but I'm sure they do exist. I mean, Alberto Del Rio probably did so. I think
to an extent.
He had a few similar kind of...
I think Shane McMahon, to an extent, in the Attitude Era, I'd argue, because he was playing the boss's rich kid. Really.
Yeah, trying to buy people and stuff,
Yeah, but Ted Dibiase did it great.
I suppose when he bought WCW, to be fair, I mean, that's a whole...
Yeah, that was a whole kayfabe anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah. Anyway.
So speaking of... So we had Gorilla Monsoon, Jesse Ventura and Bob Uecker as a commentator. Bob Uecker was doing a lot of the backstage interviews. He was all right, Bob Uecker. He clearly enjoyed it, didn't he? We've seen him at an event before. I
think he was, like I said, I think it was enthusiastic. You know,
he was
one of those people that has the enthusiasm, and it came across okay.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, a bit like a Byron Saxton today.
Absolutely,
that kind of vibe.
So, speaking of special guests, we have someone in the front row of WrestleMania, future Hall of Famer in the WWF, one of the greatest Hall of Famers of all time, President Donald Trump.
Fucking hell. You know, I know he's had a bit of a love affair with WWE, and over the years, WrestleMania matches, hair versus hair, and all that bollocks.
Yeah, the greatest WrestleMania match of all time.
I know. You can get fucked, mate. If you're watching this, Donald, go fix your hair.
Well, go sort out all your troubles with North Korea.
Yeah. Could probably say that to us, to be fair, but he's got bigger problems than we've got right now.
Absolutely. So my problem with Donald Trump and all of his lackeys being in the audience, I think Ivana was with him at one point, was that...
Was she even old enough to be there?
No, not Ivanka. Ivana was his wife at the time, wasn't it? Well, we had Ivanka too. My problem with Donald Trump being sat in the front of the audience was that he having all these suits in the front row of an audience, and it was at the camera side. They're not actually that into it. I mean, Trump sort of smiles a lot, has his hands crossed, but they're not like a fan who's up and down. That's what you need, isn't it?
Yeah, they're there for the money. They're there for the.
Well, they were there because it was Trump Plaza.
Well, yeah.
Oh, it wasn't actually Trump Plaza. It was next door to Trump Plaza.
The plug, the plug-in and all that. Vince McMahon knows for all his flaws. He knows how to make money and he knows how to drum up interest. And Trump being there, just like it's like having Ronda Rousey at a WrestleMania these days. Although Ronda Rousey is due a WWE career now,
you was never going to see Donald Trump in a wrestling ring though, and then you actually did.
Yeah, and you did. You see, so it's something that's been mirrored for many years since, and whatever people think about it, it's a good way to drum up casual interest, isn't it?
Agreed. Agreed.
I bet a few businessmen tuned in to see Donald Trump on the front row. Probably never tuned back in because fucking casual fans.
That's it. Drop in and drop out. It's not permanent, is it?
Part-timers.
I just think for me, from the event point of view, it sort of weakened that crowd interaction slightly. Gladys Knight sang "America the Beautiful."
That was nice.
Not bad. It was a good. Not much to say about that.
Could you do it better?
Could I do it better?
Yeah.
No, man.
Shut the fuck up then.
all right. She was amazing. Fair enough. So then we see
I want to see you try that. Before you start feeding me jelly beans, you could try. You could try singing "America the Beautiful." Then we'll see.
No chance. I don't even know the words. So we see the Battle Royale trophy. First of all, brings down. Great looking trophy actually at this point. And then we have the Battle Royale including the Hart Foundation, George the Animal Steel, Hillbilly Jim, Junkyard Dog, Harley Race, Danny Davis, Volkov, the Rougeaus, Killer Bees and Bad News Brown.
Man, you reeled them off. That was great.
We've got 16 matches to talk about. So as we normally do on the channel, we like to talk about the wrestlers that we've not covered in the past. In this match, I've got Sika, who teamed with his brother Afa to form the Wild Samoans in 1979, who went on to win the Tag Team Championship. So a biggish name in the WWF and in the history. That's why he's inserted into the Battle Royal. They'd fight in the WWF, but they'd also, when they were tag team champions, fight in the NWA, which you don't see very often, a tag team champions going out and fighting elsewhere. He now runs a wrestling school with Afa, who helped train other members of the Inoue family. Yeah. And he lost his son, Matt, in April this year due to heart failure, which is really rubbish. But his other son is Roman Reigns.
There you go.
So the reason I mentioned that is because you remember that there was a load of stories as he was fighting Braun, wasn't he? And he was off one week, and that was because his brother had passed away. So that's Roman Reigns' dad, Sika.
There you go.
Do you have anyone to talk about in this one?
Bad News Brown, right?
Who, sorry?
Is Bad News Brown in that one?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. I mean, Bad News Brown, he was a proper good heel. Really kind of... he was one of the first... first African American guys to really stand out around that time of Junkyard Dog and all that. He was a real bruiser, but he was also quite agile as well. He did this wicked insecurity kick as his finisher. So he was one of the kind of best kind of big men around that time. Had some killer feuds with. He had a feud with Macho Man, which was really strong. He started his own wrestling school when he finished as well. Really strong kind of performer. But like I say, there was definitely. I don't think he ever really got his due. Very much like a Ron Simmons type of character back when, sort of the Attitude Era, and they had the Nation of Domination.
Ron Simmons has been everything.
Very much inspired, very much his credit is inspiring Ron Simmons, and that kind of ilk of just really brutal bad guys who could move around in the ring. So he's credited as inspiring quite a few all round wrestlers really who are around these days. But yeah, particularly guys like Ron Simmons. But yeah, solid bad guy, solid heel, and yeah, one of the kind of, I guess, around that era, one of the strongest performers in the ring. Well,
this match was one of his early pushes as well, wasn't it? Yeah. So quite important in terms of that, even though it's just a battle royal.
He was hailed for his strength, and he was hailed for his, I guess, all round moving ability. And yeah, I think he was an enhancement talent around that time as well. But he had a good showing here, I think.
It was up for the Intercontinental Champion a bit as well. Yeah, he was in that sort of scene.
He was in that kind of scene. Like I say, it was very much. You had guys like Greg Valentine who were really strong in that time, and Honky Tonk Man as well here. And Bad News Brown was there and thereabouts for a little while, but it failed to kind of like a Don Muraco type. Failed to kind of really.
Yeah, he was a mid-card wrestler, but that's not a bad thing, you know. I mean, to talk about like WWF nowadays, I always say like Dean Ambrose is a really solid mid-card guy. Like whenever he's a champion,
but he got more. I think he's had more opportunities because I think in his early run
with the Shield,
he stood out quite well, and I think that I think in this. So Bad News Brown again, I compare him to Ron Simmons, but then Ron Simmons had a really strong World Championship run in
and WCW. Ron Simmons is recognisable for so many things.
True.
You know, I mean,
But then I would say Bad News Brown, like I say, as a bruiser and as a big man, as a guy that could really move in the ring. Like I've said, he was a great rock for performers and a great example for hard workers in the ring. But you've like I say, there's a lot of there's a lot of people that were inspired by his work in and around that time. But like you say, there's so I wouldn't necessarily compare him with a Dean Ambrose, but because I think Ambrose has had more opportunities than Bad News Brown.
More opportunities, but I don't think his opportunities have done him any favours.
I don't know, man. Like when you look at Dean Ambrose being a WWE champion and a tag team champion, and he's a Grand Slam, he's a Triple Crown, he's won everything now, hasn't he?
Okay.
Whereas Bad News didn't get that. Sorry, I'm not. It's not like I'm like Bad News Brown should have got all these opportunities and Dean Ambrose doesn't deserve them. But certainly he's one of the performers that I would have said again, like a Don Muraco.
Okay.
That probably deserved more than he got.
Yeah, or even Hercules, maybe someone like that. Yeah, cool. So quick run through of the match. At the start of the match, George the Animal Steel doesn't get into the ring, and he pulls Jim Neidhart out of the ring. Eventually, he's eliminated by the referee, so he's playing the sort of. I don't understand it really, but it was.
It's a weird one. These battle royals at this time are just kind of chaotic and silly.
I've got a question for you at the end of this actually. It was a very, very slow start, even for a battle royal, and that's my biggest issue with battle royals because you've got all these men in the ring and so much going on. It's hard to keep up.
I'm not. I don't even think they've improved. They've improved because the spectacle is much bigger now. But it's one of the hardest things to navigate, when they have battle royals on SmackDown and stuff these days. Still, it's the same. You're a little bit lost in the shuffle.
It's like you've got to wait 4 minutes before you get to any sort of good storylines and stuff like that, or anything that's going to play out in the ring.
Yeah, because you get people. You get people.
You just need to get rid of people.
Yeah, fluffers.
Yeah. JYD and Harley Race exchanged a couple of headbutts. It was quite nice to see. So carrying on their sort of feud that we'd seen at WrestleMania 3, wasn't it? Yeah. In the end, there was 3 left. There was Bad News Brown, Junkyard Dog, and Bret Hart. Junkyard Dog had headbutts for everyone, which was a nice little moment. Sort of got the crowd pumped up because everyone loves seeing Junkyard Dog headbutting people and crawling around on all fours. Bret and Bad News Brown teamed against Junkyard Dog. Both eliminated him, so he didn't look weak. During the celebration of them eliminating him, Bad News attacks Bret, and after a boring exchange, eliminates Bret. Bret Hart comes in afterwards and destroys the trophy, which was okay. Can you think of a good battle royal?
Not off the top of my head, man. There have been them, but we're looking at like maybe just post Attitude Era. But I'm trying to think. There's been a few of that.
I think there's always interesting moments in
the AJ
battle
Styles
royal.
Luke Harper finish.
That was rubbish.
I know, we've talked about that.
Rubbish. It wasn't even a false finish. Like Lex Luger and Bret Hart when they went over the Royal Rumble, that was a perfect finish. When you watch a video,
Royal Rumbles are different. Royal
Rumbles are great.
A whole different kettle of fish.
So at this time, the WWF was getting a lot of fan mail, and one of the people getting a lot of fan mail was Bret Hart. So he was a heel, but there was starting at this point, I think, to think about changing him into a face, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, it was a nice move, I thought. Yeah, like an early Triple H, like an early Hunter Hearst Helmsley type. I think it was a similar vibe but he was becoming very popular for certain reasons. It was a very attractive man, also he. He was a good worker.
He was a great worker. Yeah,
a lot of people like that. A lot of female fans, and also a lot of a lot of young talents a lot of young kids were trying to emulate him even at that point.
Yeah. So the rules are read out for the tournament by Robin Leach, which was absolutely boring. No need to talk about that. Ted Dibiase with Virgil and Andre the Giant versus Jim Duggan. So we've got the heel team that were very prominent in this event versus the All-American era.
Jim Duggan. Yeah.
Jim Duggan. Yeah, sorry. Did I say Duggan again?
I'm just being a dick, man.
That's all right,
Jim
dude.
Duggan.
You can be.
Hacksaw.
So quickly,
it's only because I got Virgil. I'm gonna laugh. Carry on.
Oh, do you want to talk a little bit about Virgil?
Oh man, do I have to?
You have to talk about Virgil.
If anyone, right, Virgil, if anyone's gonna fucking watch this podcast and plug it, right, Virgil, I'll buy some fuck money, whatever you want, buddy, whatever you want to do. I'll come with you to Olive Garden. Like, I know you. We'll have you on the podcast, buddy. Just give us a plug, yeah. You know what I mean? If anyone's gonna plug this right here, it'll be Virgil. Hey.
Can Virgil afford the internet?
Mate, can you afford the internet? We're a bit worried about it.
There's a great website called Lonely Virgil. And the guy, he tries to. So exhibitions and stuff where you can meet WWF superstars, Virgil's stand is always empty, and it's become like a running joke that everyone, no one goes to Virgil.
I don't know,
and now he tries and sneaks into people's photos, and then he'll be like, "That was $20. You've taken a photo with me." It's really funny.
It's quite sad, isn't it? But yeah, we'll have you on the podcast, buddy. Come over here. Come over to Hull. Basically, Virgil. You know what? A lot of potential back in the day. Like he
had a great storyline with Ted Dibiase.
When he finished up, and there was a nice rivalry for a bit, and he was the $1 million champion, of course, for a short period of time.
People were behind him at that time. Big time.
He was doing all right. Obviously, things changed for him, but back at that point, a lot of people started rooting for him because they wanted him to break free of the $1 million man, and I think Virgil was. It was a great talent. It was a great talent at that point. Very much. Again, I think he was a different type of talent to a Bad News Brown, where and I feel like he was the other guy we're focusing on here. Virgil had it was a little bit more the kind of Vince McMahon blueprint of what they wanted for an athlete. I know he wasn't really doing that at the time.
His figure was great.
He was the more the blueprint, and I think that they figured out that he could at least have a good go as a singles competitor, which he eventually did.
I think he had. Well, I don't know if I'd say he had a great run as a singer. He had one great storyline, I think, that sort of filtered out afterwards, and then he went to WCW, didn't he? And sort of was around there.
He was with the NWO, and again, same type of vibe, sad, lonely Virgil. We appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, it was good. It was, like I said, his stuff with DiBiase.
Yeah,
it was really good, and he helped build DiBiase into what he was, and that was great.
Yeah, I think he's a cautionary tale to what fame can do to people.
Yeah, maybe so.
I think he gets his hits and his attention these days for
the wrong reason.
Tweeting superstars. I think he tweeted. I don't want to get this wrong, but he's tweeted superstars, claiming that they're related and stuff like that.
Oh, really? Wow.
And then they'll tweet him back saying, 20 years ago you told me I'd never make it as a WWE superstar.
Yeah, it was Xavier Woods.
It was Xavier Woods.
Yeah, I remember reading that. Yeah, he tweeted he tried to be nice to Xavier, and he shot him down big time, So back to the match. Anyway, Ted Dibiase versus Jim Duggan.
Lamenting Virgil.
The crowd are behind Duggan, obviously, as they always are. Yeah. The first pay-per-view that we've seen Ted Dibiase fighting in, which was great.
He's a great technical wrestler.
He was excellent. He could sell really well. The crowd hated him for it, and that was great. And that's what you need in a good heel.
Yeah.
Definitely. Ted Dibiase was great.
Around this time, best heel.
Macho Man had just been a heel, so I'd say no. But
I still take Macho Man as a good guy over Macho Man as a bad guy. His best work. I
can enjoy all of Macho Man's work.
His best work was as a face, I think.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, yeah, difference of opinion.
That's always going to happen. But his promos were amazing. We all know that. So Hacksaw he busted open his mouth during the match. Hacksaw had the most offensive, but Andre grabs Duggan and nails him right in the chin, leading to a pin for DiBiase. Hacksaw chases him with a 2 before.
It was 2 before.
Yeah, 2 before.
2 before. That's
proper Hull.
from all night?
It was a match.
It was okay.
It was too many matches on this card.
A lot of just okay matches. Dino Bravo, Don Muraco next up as well.
Well, there was an interview with Brutus Barber Beefcake.
Yeah.
Which is quite good. But why the hell was he so obsessed with cutting people's hair?
Well, we saw that later on, didn't we?
We did. That was his. Yeah.
It's got a little bit of a fetish.
Actually, One-Legged Wanderer had commented on the last video, and he'd said how your impression of Vince started out really good, and you ended up sounding more like Mason Verger from Hannibal.
I have no idea who that is, but
it's
thanks,
the guy
buddy.
that do you know the guy that lays in his bed and he's had his face eaten off, and he feeds people to pigs?
Oh shit! You mean the film? I know. There's a new series, isn't there?
Right. You were thinking series.
Oh, the film. You mean Gary Oldman? Yeah, Gary Oldman.
Yes, Gary Oldman. That's right. Yeah.
Hey man, I'll take that. I kind of look like him anyway. It's all good.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm not going to disagree with that.
That's weird though. He sounds very like.
So I think
you're right,
for One-Legged Wanderer, you should do more impressions this episode. So get ready. Next up, we have Don Muraco with Billy Graham with matching tie-dye t-shirts.
I was gonna say, man, they're just fucking built as fuck out there. So fucking brick shit houses. These guys.
They look great, yeah. And Dino Bravo was with Frenchie Martin. So
I think Muraco looked really strong again. That was my take from this.
I really like the match actually, but I'm gonna talk a little bit about Billy Graham first, because he appeared briefly, or he was supposed to be appearing Survivor Series, but ended up getting injured, didn't he, by One Man Gang? So
that was a story. That was a story thing, wasn't it? I think they were.
Yes, he was ready to retire anyway. So Billy Graham started off as a bodybuilder where he was training with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was trained by Stu Hart in the Dungeon, and he was in a tag team with Dusty Rhodes in 1974. A massive talent, actually, main event talent. He was heavyweight champion between 1977 and 1978, and the person that he defeated for that was Bruno Sammartino. And any time that you mention that name and you're talking about people feuding with him, you know that there was a talent, and you know there was at top of the card.
Yeah, big deal.
He lost the title to Bob Buckland.
Bob Buckland.
Bob Buckland, yeah.
Bob Backlund.
Bob Buckland.
Are you going to keep that? Are you going to keep Bob Buckland?
Maybe.
What if he puts you in the chicken wing?
the crippled cross-faced chicken wing.
You don't want to be putting the cross-faced chicken wing.
No, not for as long as Bret Hart was in that match. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get to that. In 1992, this is really interesting, man. In 1992, he claimed on a TV show that he'd witnessed WWF officials abusing children.
Really?
Yeah, man. And he later said that he was making it up to try and extort hush money from the WWF. That's bad, man. I mean, he says that it's one of the things that he regrets in his life, but you don't joke about stuff
man,
or lie about stuff like that.
I tells you, man, fame will do
all about money, man. All about money.
Fame will do weird shit to you.
During 1994, Vince McMahon was put on trial on charges of steroid distribution. There was a doctor in 92, I think, that was prosecuted that had worked with McMahon, and I think, whatever went on there. Graham at that time tried to file a lawsuit against the WWF, saying that they'd forced him to take steroids. However, this was thrown out because Graham had clearly been taking steroids for 10 years prior to that. Mm-hmm. Interesting stuff, man. And he worked with Hulk Hogan earlier in his career, and many people think that Hulk's look was attributed to Billy Graham, which you can see.
Yes, totally. Yeah. I think there's a lot of borrowing from there.
Yeah. So to the match, I really enjoyed this match.
Yeah,
there was a couple of stiff clotheslines in it, which I enjoyed.
Yeah.
More suplexes than was normally being used.
Yeah, for the big men. Ridiculous finish as per usual. The whole fucking disqualification bollocks.
Yeah. The ring sounds when these two big guys were dropping on the ring sounded thunderous, and that was really nice to sort of see. And there was a lot of slams that played on that. Dino hangs himself on the ropes, and Muraco takes advantage, leading to a really nice pile driver. Again, two really big guys going for dangerous moves at this time. I enjoyed it, man.
Yeah.
Bravo accidentally attacks the ref as Bravo punches him into him. When ref revives as Dino is pinning Muraco, he taps Dino 3 times and then calls for the bell. and he gets disqualified for getting the ref involved. A dusty finish. I think this had really great potential, and I wish that it could have carried on a little bit longer because I was really enjoying watching him. And I'd never seen that from these two either. It really surprised me, man. Yeah,
it's a weird one. They look stronger than I've ever seen them as well.
Yeah.
I was more interested. I wasn't really that interested, to be honest, but I was more interested in them both than I have been, purely because they were moving a bit more. They were more talking about Bad News Brown and his moveset. You know, these big men. You know, I'm a massive mark for Bam Bam Bigelow and One Man Gang as well.
Yeah.
Really big dudes that could really move.
Oh, absolutely.
This time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that either of these guys is on the level of, say, a One Man Gang size.
I think that, for me, this match was a really good match.
It was solid.
And I think it was great. I was speaking to you earlier about it, and I sort of said how it reminded me of a British Bulldogs, as if Dynamite Kid and British Bulldog was in the ring together.
Facing off, And
it was really good to see.
I get that vibe from them too. Yeah, it was solid.
So ending spoiled a little bit, but that's okay.
It's all right. These things happen.
Bob Uecker was on the search for Vanna White, who was the Wheel of Fortune presenter. She got such a massive pop. She comes out later in the ring, and she got one of the biggest pops of the night.
Big deal, though, isn't it? Wheel of Fortune.
She was. Apparently, it was a massive deal at the time.
Isn't Wheel of Fortune still around?
Yeah, I think so. It's just not. It's just not a main event star. I think people popped as loud for her as they did for Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, whatever happened to it? When did it finish? It's always one of those things that
they keep bringing it back.
I feel like it was really popular. Remember, like, the Weakest Link? Like, we had the Weakest Link.
Where's that? Have you seen the WWF Weakest Link?
Yeah, I saw.
They have like 2 parts. Stone Cold's in it as well.
Anyway, I just want to know whatever happened to Wheel of Fortune, and also
The Weakest Link.
Randy Robinson.
Yeah, he was looking for Vanna White and looking for a kiss that she'd promised him or something. It was a weird storyline, but it got him backstage.
A lot of weird, pervy stuff going on back in the day.
Yeah.
A lot of weird shit.
Ooh.
What the fuck was that?
It was my Randy Savage being a pervert. Speaking of Randy and he's gone.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
So next up we had an interview with Jimmy Hart and Honky Tonk Man that just sort of went by me. Next match was Greg the Hammer Valentine with Jimmy Hart, got out there quite quickly, versus Ricky Steamboat.
Pretty solid. Hammer's got the win.
Yeah, man.
Surprising.
Well, Ricky come out with it. No, because they were sort of still punishing Ricky, I think, for wanting to spend time with his wife and newly born son. However, he come out with his son in matching outfits. Would you call them judo suits or karate suits type thing? Wasn't it, really?
Judo suits.
Yeah, maybe.
Karate suit.
Yeah, they looked, adorable. Ricky tries to get Hammer in a roll-up after Greg has bounced off the rope, but Greg falls before, leading to an awkward pin attempt. There was a couple of moments of this. I love Greg the Hammer Valentine when he was like...
Oh, man.
Do you know when you punched him and it was a tree, wasn't it? A falling tree.
He was a great... Yeah, I don't know. He was a great heel, but just... but mainly... And this is an opinion... And I'm sorry that this is my opinion, but he was made by the people he worked with. He had a great legacy, but I think he was remembered. He was remembered because he worked with some really great people. But he's remembered for the matches he had.
But don't you think he helped them? Helped them look good?
The more I think about it, the more I think he's a. I mean, I'm trying to think of a modern example of someone that is that. He has the reputation he does. Maybe a Roman Reigns.
Oh, I've got a good one for you, Bray Wyatt. Greg Hammer never won out either.
Yeah, but do you think that Wyatt is made by? Do you think that Wyatt?
No, I don't think Greg did.
I don't know, man. I feel like he wasn't the best performer.
I don't think he had a great gimmick. I don't think he really had any gimmick until he did have a gimmick a bit later on.
I know it's a controversial opinion.
I like it. It's cool. We like controversy.
Do you disagree with me? Please feel free to disagree with me.
But I loved it. I loved it when he got punched and he looked like he was falling into a tree. That's okay. That's okay. You went on one. That's fine.
It looked like he was falling into a tree.
Yeah. So he'd get punched and then he'd wait. But at this point, Ricky had I think he thought that he was just standing there, so he went to go and grab him, but he was like started falling and just sort of fell over each other a little bit. Yeah. And there was a couple of moments of that, but I thought it was nice to see a brawler versus a technical wrestler. That was interesting.
There's a lot of that. There's a nice card. There's a few really good moments of that, I think.
Yeah, it just wasn't a great match. Ricky went for the crossbody. Greg rolls it over into the pin for the 3 count. Not a bad match, but I think when you've got Ricky Steamboat in a match after the matches we've seen recently, you expect a little bit more, don't you?
Yeah, no, there was definitely more to be had from that. Yeah.
So next up, we've got an interview with the Bulldogs. They've been teaching Matilda how to weasel hunt, which is obviously a reference to Bobby the Brain Heenan. And they're going to go after Bobby tonight, and Matilda is going to get Bobby, which all comes out later on. Next up match is Randy Savage with Miss Elizabeth versus Butch Reed with Slick. Butch Reed and Slick are dancing in the ring to a theme song, which was a really obvious rip-off of Michael Jackson's Bad. Really obvious. Boom, boom, boom. But is that bad? Or is that Beat It?
Oh, boom, boom. I'm bad, you know it. What's the other one? What was the other one?
Yeah, no, it was bad. That was what there was.
All right, okay.
Yeah, so we got it. It's good. Randy Savage was in his iconic pink pants, yellow boots, as well as the blue robe, which I think it's the one we see in 2K17.
Possibly.
When we're playing that. It looked great. Savage, obviously, every time he comes out, has a different outfit.
Yeah. Solid win as well. Solid match. I'm not the greatest fan of Butch Reed, to be honest.
No. I actually didn't enjoy the match. No. I thought the match was a bit crap, especially for Savage. Savage was great, man. Yeah. And that wasn't a Savage
No, his
match.
finest moment, agreed.
No, but he had 4 matches in the card, so, you know. There was a minor distraction from Elizabeth, which ends with Savage getting the elbow. The crowd goes wild. Yeah. I don't think it was a great Macho Man match, so it was sort of a bit throwaway.
But there are better ones on this card.
There are, yes. Bobby Heenan and the Islanders have an interview with Uecker. Uecker tells them that the dog has been training to... Bob Uecker. Uecker.
Oh, Uecker.
Bob Uecker, sorry. The dog has been... You always check my names, don't you, now? Because you know that I'm so bad at saying names.
No, it's like a crossbreed between Uecker and Oakland. Like, me and Gene Uecker.
Maybe that's what I'm doing. Who knows? I'll just write it down and then I'll say it.
It's all good. It's all good.
So they're talking about how the dog's been training to get Bobby the Brain, and Bobby the Brain's going off at it. It's good. Bobby the Brain was good at interviews.
Yeah, he's brilliant. I actually, there's a part of me really likes when he gets in the ring, Like, I'm tempted to go back and watch more of his matches.
It was funny, man. It was funny. I don't think his health's very good at the minute, actually. No. I think he's really struggling to
a lot of people
love out to Bob, man.
Yeah, and also Ric Flair, too.
And Ric Flair as well. Health's not very good at the minute, which is really sad to hear. Some wrestling legends there, the pair of them. So next up, we have One Man Gang with Slick versus Bam Bam Bigelow with Oliver Humperdinck.
Yep. Again, One Man Gang, like he talking about guys, Bad Brown, etc., who deserved a little bit more.
Oh, he deserved way more.
One Man Gang was a monster. He was like a Braun Strowman for the day, man.
Yeah, he was, and he looked great. He fit that 80s punk.
It was a dominate. Like obviously you got Bigelow as well, who a lot of love for Bam Bam Bigelow. Nice to see him in 2K18, by the way. And there's going to be. It's nice to see there's like a resurgence for guys like Bam Bam Bigelow in these games.
Bam Bam was great.
He was great, but where's a guy like One Man Gang? Because fans need to know that One Man Gang. He was like a Strowman for the game.
He became Akeem, didn't he? And that gimmick was just. I'd never enjoyed it.
It was
the African Dream, and I just never enjoyed it. I've talked about it before, so I don't want to bore people with it. But that One Man Gang was great.
Yeah, and he looked.
They should have kept it, man.
One Man Gang was fucking ferocious.
He looks great, and he felt like a threat. One Man Gang obviously had some heat with the crowd as soon as he come out, which was great to see. Bam Bam Bigelow's music was like a saxophone and really jazzy. It was really weird because I'm always used to the bam bam, and this was like a really sexy jazzy number. It was on a saxophone.
Like an early days Viscera, like Big Fist, where these fucking big, intimidating dudes that shouldn't be like coming out to jazz and blues.
So Slick pulled. There wasn't much to the match really. Yeah. Slick pulled down the top rope as Bam Bam was running the ropes. He went over. And then One Man Gang wins by count out, even though it didn't seem like Bam Bam was out for any time whatsoever. A really crap end for two big guys that could put on a great match, and it would have been great to have seen them fight.
Totally, and also I just want to say it right now, Slick bothers me as a manager. I just don't think he was that great. I think he was.
I never particularly.
He was heavily featured, and at this time he's just not my favourite manager. Again, feel free, tell us all.
I agree.
Tell us your top 10 or top 5 managers, and if Slick's in there, give me a good reason why.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah, top 5 managers.
Top 5
I'd love
managers
to hear
would
that.
be great. Yeah, please.
Yeah, that's really good. Do that, and we'll do something on Facebook with you.
We'll do a shout out or give
cool.
away some shit to you. Have some free shit from us if you actually bother to write in a comment section. That would be lovely. So yeah, we'll give you some stuff.
So then we had an interview with Hulk where he talks about the match from last year against Andre haunting him ever since, and he wants to prove once and for all he can beat him. He mentions that Trump was a Hulkamaniac. Yeah. What was that?
That was mad Trump.
Did you just get too excited?
What about Donald? Oh yeah.
So the next match we had. Sorry, I'm just trying to run through this card because there's so many matches.
Just getting excited over Donald's hairpiece.
Yeah, his hair looked full at this point. Rick Rude with Bobby Heenan versus Jake the Snake Roberts.
Fuck this one.
Yeah, it wasn't as good as it could have been, could it? Rick Rude looks amazing and gets his promo before the match. I loved Rick Rude's promos before the match. The whole sweat hogs. He doesn't say sweat hogs in this one, but he was basically, and this is what I was thinking of, it's the same sort of heat that the Drifter and I love the Drifter.
He's getting his push now, by the way. He's, sorry to bring it into
Anytime he's on the ring, I'm like, I tell my partner to be quiet and just let me laugh.
Do you want to walk? Do you want to walk with Elias? Yeah. I'm like, you know what? Like, just to bring it up to date, just quickly. Yeah, I'm really pleased he's getting his push. But yeah, you're right. You're right.
Rick Rude, the original Drifter. We had a pink tights with ladies' face on. Yeah,
Rick Rude has better hips.
Yeah. He's a good wrestler as well, Rick Rude. Good at selling.
Hips don't lie.
Jake comes out with Damien, obviously. A lot of showboating during the start of the match from Rick Rude, flexing. Trump has a little smile. Yeah. Maybe he had a thing for Rick Rude. What do you think?
To be fair, he's a pretty attractive dude.
Have you got a thing for Rick Rude?
Well, like I say, I liked his hips. He had a pretty good ass, actually.
He did have a good ass.
He was the original ass man.
If you saw him walking away, it'd be like looking at a lady.
I'm not sure I'd go that far. Okay, I'm just comfortable. You know, I'm comfortable with my sexuality.
Good for you.
I'll say that Rick Rude had a nice bum. Yeah, God rest his soul.
The two felt really well matched in the ring. I think that the idea of a feud between Jake and Rick Rude.
I was going to make a joke about feeling.
You've just made it. It just the match felt really slow in comparison to everything else on the card. I think
they've done better as well, the two of them.
Yeah. I think because it was holding it out for that 15-minute time limit, but there was a load of really slow Viking holds in the middle of the match that went on way too long.
You could tell what they were trying to do.
Rick Rude had snot in his beard at one point.
That happens.
It happens. A good fact though. Rude goes for the pin, but a time limit draw.
Is that an actual fact that you've researched for this?
It's really important that we give you the essential information, and he had a burger in his beard.
A boga? You mean like a booger? A booger. A bogey.
So it's a
booger.
Bastion bogey.
Bastion bogey. When does Bastion Booger come into it? I really want to talk about Bastion Booger, the sweaty bastard.
He was in Wrestlemania 2, wasn't he, briefly? But I think, no, he won't.
Bastion Booger.
No, he won't. We'll talk about him at some point.
I remember Vince McMahon saying, Bastion Booger. Yeah, I love it.
So Rude goes for the pin, but the time limit draw happens. The audience didn't seem to care by this point at all, actually. So win, lose, draw, not bothered. It wasn't too long. It was only 15 minutes.
I know. I thought
that's a normal.
It
dragged. That's the problem. It wasn't too long. It dragged. Did you know that after the camera went off, Jake swiped Damien onto Ivana Trump, which caused us to freak out?
Really?
Yeah, and Jake said it was an accident, and I think, now who was it?
What do you mean, accident?
Because he gets his snake out at the end of the match, and he draped his snake on Ivana Trump.
Accidentally?
Yeah, well, it wasn't an accident,
Yeah,
and
obviously.
apparently it was a work, but he claimed it was an accident because he probably didn't want to get fired.
Fair enough.
But the feud would continue between Jake and Rick, and I'm sure we'll cover it in another episode. It led to the angle where Rude would make advancements onto Jake's wife and start putting Jake's wife onto his tights and stuff like that, which was actually a really good angle, and I think that they did have some good matches. Yeah. This wasn't a good example of it.
Those tights and that as well.
The tights are great, man. Yeah. The tights are great, especially the Ultimate Warrior ones. I love them.
Yeah.
So then we see Wheel of Fortune's Vanna White, who joins Gorilla to look at the brackets. It was. I have a problem with the King of the Ring layout in this. Actually, I like King of the Ring type things, tournaments.
Well, yeah,
didn't like this.
It's come back in and back out over the years, hasn't it? It's been in and then for a few years it's gone, and I
really like it. I just don't think it worked at this event, and I don't know why. I think it was because you had other matches interspersed in it that went on quite a while, and it didn't. It didn't feel, although it was for the WWF World Title, so it should have felt important.
Yeah, it should have felt more. Yeah, you're right.
But to me, it felt less important than the Wrestling Classic that we covered in. I much preferred that event actually to WrestleMania 4.
Well, who was the last King of the Ring? Booker T?
I don't know, man.
Was it more? No, I think there's one more recent. Tell us who it is. Sorry, we're off our game today. But yeah, who was the most recent King of the Ring? I seem to think it was Booker T, but we may have had something more recent. Just off little bit of info that I'd like.
Cool. And next up, we had Ultimate Warrior versus Hercules with Bobby Heenan.
As well.
It was what? Sorry.
Pay-per-view debut for the Warrior.
No, it wasn't.
Was it not?
No, Royal Rumble, man. He was in the Royal Rumble match.
Oh yes, but I mean, it's like a singles match though.
Yeah, and
just
you can also
covering my back there as a singles match.
And the Royal Rumble wasn't actually a pay-per-view; it was just a match, the first Royal Rumble.
There you go.
So you're as wrong as I am, right? This was Warrior's first major feud, which is good to see him getting into a feud, I suppose. Prior to this match, they had a chain match where Hercules attacked him with a chain after the match ended. We see the chain come into it at the end of the match.
I always like this pin at the end of this one,
What with the?
I remember this the whole.
It's quite a strong image, I think, of the Warrior.
Pin as well. I thought it was nice, kicking off the ropes and shit.
Yeah, well, you one of the things I noticed earlier on in the night, this is when you start to see Warrior face paint being worn in the crowd by kids in the crowd. So he was getting over from very quickly. The first time that we hear the music from our show, I don't think you heard the music on the pay-per-view, did you? On the Royal Rumble. And his character seemed more complete than it did in the Rumble.
He was doing he was...
We got to do the rope entrance, where he'd shake the ring ropes and
bringing the power from the ropes.
Yeah, but in terms of the match, not a lot happened in the ring. Hercules, there was a lot of punches, man.
Yeah, Hercules is always really. I've never been a great fan of his work, and I don't think he we're talking about people that build legacies from working with people. He just wasn't a great worker. I don't think.
I'd need to sort of watch him a bit more, because I think when you're watching it and not doing it like we're doing it, where you're reviewing it, you just sort of skip over it. So I'd have to see, because I don't remember that Muraco Dino match enjoying that as much as I did. Yeah. So I'll comment in a couple of episodes time.
I'm not a huge fan of Hercules, but I think the Warrior came across really strong.
Both men had shoulders down. Warrior pushes out of the half Nelson. Warrior kicks out at last second. That was really cool, actually.
And then that's what I'm saying.
Hercules so they both had their shoulders down, and Warrior kicked out. Yeah. Hercules goes to get his chain to attack the Warrior. Warrior gets it off him and starts swinging it. And is that the image that you was on about?
Yeah.
Warrior swinging that chain in the ring.
Really strong, defining image for the Warrior.
It was
kind of a build for his career.
Yep. So we have Sugar Ray Leonard at ringside to show a shot of him. Again, a good way to legitimise...
Fluffing, yes, a nice little bit of celeb fluffing there.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a boxer, and I think there's celeb fluffing and then there's legitimising the sport.
I don't know. Well, I don't know, man, because it's...
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't call, boxing and
I just think...
I think they're very different things. But it's the same way.
Yeah, but they were trying to legitimise wrestling and say this is real, and by having someone who really fights people.
Well, it's the same as having Mayweather knock out Big Show.
Yeah.
Years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you're in there, but if it's like Mr. T back in the day, if you bought him in, he was a legitimate tough guy. Sugar Ray Leonard was a legitimate tough guy.
Absolutely.
And I think any time a boxer comes into a WWE ring, it kind of
it defeats the purpose of it. I get what you're saying, but then With that argument, like Mike Tyson in the Stone Cold Rock, was it Stone Cold Rock?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was Stone Cold and Michaels, wasn't it?
Stone Cold Michaels, sorry.
And,
that he sort of brought so many eyes to that, and even though he didn't do very much.
No, yeah, he brought eyes to it. Yeah, no,
I mean, it was a massive, but it legitimised it.
I'm not trying to call it, because obviously I made a point earlier where I think it's necessary. I do think it's necessary to have celebrities in there.
Yeah, but these aren't just celebrities; these are fighters.
Well, yeah, it's like the Ronda Rousey thing, you know.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to how the Ronda Rousey thing plays out.
She'll be in.
I think it'll be.
2 years.
I think
Next
we're
2 years.
getting. I don't know. I think this year. I think we're gonna at the Wrestlemania this year. My prediction is the 4 horsewomen versus the 4 horsewomen of NXT. The MMA 4 horsewomen versus Becky Lynch, Bayley, Charlotte, and Sasha.
How on earth is that going to happen?
Well,
maybe a story for another time.
Watch the Mae Young Classic, and they've already started a feud between them.
Really? I need to watch that.
It's not out yet, but I read spoilers. Sorry for the spoilers. That's going to happen. So enjoy that. I think that's what's coming up.
Cool.
Next up, we have Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant with Ted DiBiase and Virgil. So we get to see a video package.
Yeah, they're pumping this one up, aren't they?
I mean, it was important because there was some massive matches within this feud. I think it just tailed off a little bit towards the end. The history of Hogan versus Andre, including Virgil distracting the ref, meaning that he missed the pin, and showed Andre. Good old Virgil. Probably trying to take a photo with the ref, do you think?
Yeah. Preempting his post-wrestling success. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, like I say, well, most honestly, of every wrestler, I honestly hope that Virgil watches this. I really do.
You'll have to tweet him.
I will tweet him.
If he's paid his internet bills. It showed Andre getting the pin, even though Hogan had have his elbow up. It really annoyed me, Hogan. Anytime he gets a pin and he's got to kick out just after the pin, or he's got to have his elbow up, it was all Hogan's ego, so that it didn't. He didn't look weak, and I get it. And he look. You can't say that the guy did the wrong thing because he was the biggest wrestler in the world at the time, easily. But it's so frustrating to see that he wouldn't just take a clean pin for Andre, who did amazing things for all
the good that Hogan's done in his career. I think they do say fame goes to your head, and I think he's.
It's just so frustrating to see stuff like that, man.
Look how someone like Cena works these days. Obviously, he's obviously big, but he's very good at supporting other.
He can be if he wants to. He will do.
He puts people over, I think,
and sometimes buries people as well. Yeah. Andre starts the match off. I thought he was quite fast for Andre.
This was interesting.
He was really sick at this time still.
And stuff,
a few moments where Andre looked like he was struggling in the ring, especially when he wants supporting himself on something. And it's hard to watch stuff like this, knowing the difficulties that he was going through personally. Hulk went for the slam, but DiBiase attacks with a chair. Hulk then gets the chair. The referee didn't see DiBiase. Hulk gets the chair and attacks Andre with a chair. He attacks Andre with a chair. What does that mean, Dom, in a wrestling match?
It means a disqualification.
It means a disqualification. Andre then attacks Hulk with a chair. Why was this a double disqualification? Hulk had attacked Andre with a chair. That was the disqualification. Not Andre retaliating. Nothing else. So I didn't get it. I didn't get why that had to happen.
I don't know why. Maybe it was because of the way Andre was working. I'm not sure.
Well, I think it was more to do with the Savage thing, but it was just really frustrating. Actually, I would have because then you would have had more matches on the card. But for me, it's one of them wrestling. Do you know when something doesn't play the way that it should, and you just go, well, why?
Yeah, it was a weird one for sure.
Yeah. Hulk carries on, attacking Virgil and Ted DiBiase. I think that could have been interesting if Hulk had maybe injured DiBiase and he'd ended up winning the tournament, because he was originally planned to win.
Yeah, I always thought he should have won that.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
It ends with a slam on Andre, so Hogan gets his slam in again, so giving the fans what they want. Both men have been disqualified. Hulk still celebrates with his Real American for what feels like ages.
Real American.
Do you want to do some Hulk poses?
How do you do that one?
Is that a Hulk or is that a dab?
I've never done a dab in my life. How do you do the Hulk? Is it that? How do you do that?
Man, I don't know. You're just getting nasally. I don't think Hulk was as nasally as you were.
That's the warrior, isn't it? That's the warrior.
Yeah, he was, yeah. So after this match, we still have an hour and a half of pay-per-view left to go.
Yeah, we still got a lot to go, yeah.
And it's like, I was, because I paused it at this point, I was like, oh, well, that's like the main event match. And I look at, and an hour and a half to go. Jesus, man.
Yeah, still a long ways to go here, man.
So then we had an interview with Macho Man. We can see that his face
Horny
here.
Macho Man.
Oh, yeah! We see that his face here as he's praising the Hulk, and it's sort of the beginning hints of the mega powers
which
coming.
we see later on.
Which we see later on. Next match, we have Don Muraco with Billy Graham versus Ted Dibiase.
Yeah. Ted Dibiase.
Good back and forth in this match.
Yeah,
man.
not bad. Probably one of the better matches I've seen. $1 Million Man. I thought it was solid.
Yeah, well, the thing about $1 Million Man is I thought Matthew Kelly could sell really well.
Yeah, man.
He did look like Matthew Kelly, didn't he?
He did. He did look like Matthew Kelly. Yeah, what's the best reference for any US, for any people? How do we
Matthew Kelly was in British Stars, and you were checking him out. When I was younger, I was like, that's Matthew Kelly wrestling. Yeah. He's so rich.
Amazing. Yeah, strong showing for DiBiase, and like I say,
well pissed.
Did you say well pissed?
We know well paced.
It was fucking well pissed, mate.
No. Clothesline onto the top rope gets DiBiase the win. Yeah, it was good, man. It was an okay match.
He should have been WWE champion, man. DiBiase, one of the.
Well, he was supposed to win this.
Yeah,
we'll go into that.
Fucking underrated. Anyway,
no, I don't think he is underrated because I think people know how good he was.
Yeah. But it would have been great to have him. Same with Jake the Snake, and we've said this 100 times already. But yeah. Anyway. So
we had an interview with Demolition next. Smash always scared me when I was younger.
Solid heel team, man. Very much. The Ascension. You know what I mean? It remind me of Demolition.
I think a little bit. I think my problem with Smash's makeup is it was the fact that he had that little ginger beard at the bottom.
Yeah.
Weird stuff, man. Weird. You don't do makeup with a mustache.
No, and a beard.
No. Someone tell Finn Balor that.
Oh man. He's not done it with. Does he have the beard?
Yeah, he always has a beard. He just paints over it. No, I know he looks amazing. Finn Balor's amazing.
I'm sure he doesn't.
No, he doesn't shave. He has his beard. It's just over it. You check it out if you watch Raw from last night. Last night he'll have a beard. Or his wire. He's not a full beard, is it? This is a beard. Braun Strowman's a beard.
You've got the best beard in wrestling podcast.
I'd love to have that. So because of the draw, one man.
Should we make you $1 million title for your beard?
Oh hell yeah, man!
Oh yeah!
Oh yeah, man!
Sorry,
it's explained that because of the draw, one man gang gets to go to the semi-finals automatically.
Yeah. OMG. Next up,
we have Randy Savage with Miss Elizabeth and Greg Valentine with Jimmy Hart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, weird match. Greg got a lot of offensive in. Yeah. Again,
I think they're trying to make Valentine look decent.
I thought he did look quite decent.
But yeah,
difference of opinion.
Again, it's all about the way Savage. He's a launching pad, I think, for Savage, and to make Savage look strong more.
Yeah,
it looks like a strong win for Savage. This one.
Well, my problem with the match, and I would say this about Greg, is that when Savage starts getting the offensive, the match speeds up a lot, which is testament to Savage, I suppose. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of top rope attempts from Macho Man, which was good to see. Yeah. As Greg goes for the figure of four, Macho reverses it into a small package for the win. Mm-hmm. Pretty basic match.
I thought it was solid for Macho Man. Again, a launching pad. Greg Valentine is. God, I feel like such an asshole. He's nothing more than a launching pad.
He was a wrestler for many years.
Yeah,
man.
No, I know he was good. I didn't say he wasn't a solid worker. He's like the Brooklyn Brawler was a solid worker.
Yeah.
I'm not comparing the two in terms of legacy, but I'm just saying that he never reached the brass ring.
No, he didn't.
Okay, all right. Kind of like, even though I think Cesaro's more talented, kind of like it. Cesaro's way more talented, but.
Sheamus?
No, but Sheamus has been WWE champion.
Yeah,
for
but it was there. Yeah,
but he
past,
is that
man.
kind of. Yeah,
Past.
what do you mean? You can't take that away from someone.
No, okay.
But then Vince McMahon was champion once.
Exactly.
So maybe I don't know. Anyway.
Next up, Intercontinental Championship match:
Honky
Brutus
Tonk
the Barber
Man.
Beefcake versus
Honky Tonk Man.
Honky Tonk Man with Jimmy Hart and who else?
Peggy Sue.
Who was played by?
The fuck was she played by?
You didn't recognise her?
No.
Sensational Sherry.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, if you look, there was no female matches on the card, so they used Sensational Sherry as Peggy Sue.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, man, there you go. Surprise.
That's weird.
Well, I don't understand what the feud was about. It was something to do with Honky. I tried to even research it, but Brutus wanted to cut Honky Tonk's hair.
Yeah. And then it got to Jimmy Hart.
You see, that's a problem with Brutus. Like, I've enjoyed a lot of his work up to this point, and now it's become full-on cartoonies 90s, and it's for me that this one was a bridge too far, I suppose.
What? Just overdoing the gimmick and things.
Overdoing the silliness of the gimmick, I think.
There was
really.
There was a lot of that. Yeah.
If it dialed it back a bit, it could have. To me, I watch this and I see too much of the sort of early 90s wrestling, and we're sort of leading into that, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks more like the Barber that we know, but I don't know if that's a good thing.
Yeah, a bit of an overdue gimmick match, I think.
So many sequins.
Yes.
Man,
Yes.
Greg the Hammer Valentine had sequins, Honky Tonk Man had sequins, Randy Savage had sequins.
Too much repetition in this era.
That costume department, man, must have been sewing for days, and that's the type of thing that you should notice when you're watching wrestling.
It's real to us, damn it.
Poor costume department. Yeah, wrestling moves in this match include messing up Honky's hair.
Yep.
I'm
kind of poor.
Yeah,
I'm still completely baffled by Peggy Sue and how I missed that.
Yeah, man,
Such
sensational Sherry.
Such a dumbass. Anyway, yeah. So
Beefcake was a better wrestler than what we saw in this match, and that was my biggest problem. It was played too cartoony. He was good when he was in a tag team and stuff. He looked solid in the ring, much more solid than he looked now. And it was too cartoony. Jimmy Hart attacks a referee from behind with a megaphone.
Yeah, which goes DQ.
Legitimately knocked out the referee.
Yeah, I saw that. It was interesting.
Yeah.
And they he goes for Jimmy's hair, gives him a haircut. Chases after him, gives him a haircut. Comes back for the old.
I never liked it when he was running around with scissors in his hand, though, man.
Frightening.
It's frightening, man. One slip and it's like artery gone, man.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah, hair matches, man. In general. Can be quite dangerous.
Yeah, man.
There's one in TNA where I watched with Raven and Jeff Jarrett, and Raven fucking gets scalped.
Oh, really?
He bleeds everything.
Oh, no, man. No, I don't like...
They proper fuck it up. Like, he gets proper scalped. Yeah. Anyway.
Brutus wins by disqualification, but the title doesn't change hands because he's won by disqualification.
Age-old rule.
You see, I think a few episodes ago you were talking about how Honky Tonk's run was so good. It was okay. It was just a lot of...
I feel like I'm back and forth on a little bit on this. He had a good run.
He had a long run.
He had a long run. Whether he should have done or not is debatable, but he did. He is one of the most iconic Intercontinental champions.
He definitely should.
Master of the atomic drop. In the inverted atomic drop, he used to use that shit all the time.
Well,
he used to take it quite a lot too.
And this sort of leads into our final main event. But earlier on in the year, the WWF wanted to put the Intercontinental Champion on Macho Man, and Honky Tonk Man refused to do it, basically, which is weird. So that's why the ending of this match is played out differently than it was expected. Macho Man was a great wrestler, should have been able to take it off Honky Tonk Man, in my opinion. And I watched a shoot interview with Honky Tonk Man, and he was talking about, not with Honky Tonk Man, with Macho Man, and he was talking about how Honky Tonk Man had acted all hard backstage, but he was never that threatening because he had such small hands. I can't watch a Honky Tonk Man match now without looking at his tiny hands. He has he has freakishly small hands.
Really?
Man. Yeah. Real weird.
I wonder if I'm gonna go look and check that out.
Everyone is gonna notice Honky Tonk's tiny hands now.
Well, he had a big guitar, didn't he?
He had a big guitar, yeah. So next up we had an interview with Andre the Giant, who stands behind Ted Dibiase and says his only aim was to stop Hogan in the tournament, and that's why he's not bothered about getting disqualified.
Yeah, it looks intimidating as fuck.
Yeah, I loved Andre as a heel. So the next match was the Islanders, Hako and Tama, with Bobby Heenan versus the British Bulldogs and Koko Beware.
Good solid wrestling match from all of them, I thought.
It was
weird. I liked it. What weird finish. But...
The Islanders had been feuding with the Bulldogs since late 87 after stealing Matilda, which we sort of covered in the Royal Rumble episode.
Beautiful dog.
Koko Beware was introduced as Bobby the Brain Heenan, who was manager of the Islanders, had brought up that he didn't think that animals should be used as mascots. Yeah. What a good argument he had. Animals shouldn't have been. Yeah. I mean, the stress on them animals. So the Brain comes out wearing a full dog handler's outfit, which was great, man. It may have looked more like a straitjacket, but you know, this little British bulldog.
I wonder. I think Heenan had a lot of creative control back in that time, and he had some good ideas.
He did,
good ideas
he did
for his character.
So one thing I'd say was that when Koko Beware come out with the Bulldogs, he was completely lost, man. Like, you didn't even notice Koko Beware coming with the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs were so charismatic, and I think most of the match as well.
Bulldogs were so strong. I mean, there's an argument that Bulldog would maybe still be performing now, and also will probably still be in, and also Dynamite Kid. I mean, what a legacy. Anyway, we've talked about that before. But one of, if not the best tag team of this era, in my opinion.
Great, man. Yeah,
not just because we're British. But
did you notice Matilda had a blue velvet platform to sit on?
Yeah, weird.
Oh,
weird shit.
It was a doggy.
I know, but you're messing with their brains, man. It
was a vicious dog.
Yeah.
Davey Boy Smith starts off and looks great in the ring. Great overhead lifts. Looks strong as he always did. The
that
Islanders
was kind of his thing, to be fair.
Yeah, I thought the match was a bit. It didn't really do out for me.
I don't know. I thought it was an entertaining match. The end, where the Islanders stick Heenan.
Yeah, well, I thought the end was good actually, because the Koko was in the ring, so it was Koko that took the pin, and the Islanders picked up Heenan and just dropped him onto Koko, which was actually quite funny, and he gets a pin. A cameraman fell over when there was chasing, because it's when Matilda's chasing Bobby the Brain as he's running off, and the camera's running along with him, and suddenly you see a shot of the floor with the cameraman falling over. Wrestling. Not a bad match, just nothing special for me.
I liked it, but like I say, you didn't really get it, but
Jesse the Body had a moment of showing off to the crowd, so they announced that Jesse the Body Ventura comes in, and that sort of reinstates how much work he was doing in films, because this is just after Running Man's come out, and people were, he was part of the attraction. So he gets up, stands on a platform with no railings, looks like a really big drop. Probably shouldn't have got away with that these days. Oh yeah, it's explained that because of Hulk and Andre the Double DQ, DiBiase will be in the final. You sort of know that though. Randy Savage with Elizabeth versus One Man Gang with Slip.
Yeah. Slick is annoying me as per usual.
Yeah.
The whole cane thing, again, a really overused weapon on this pay-per-view and in general. Gang gets disqualified for using the cane. Solid match in terms of, I guess, solid showing rather, in terms of, I guess, the good guy versus bad guy dynamic, which I obviously love to comment on. You root for Randy Savage because he's the
he looked like the underdog.
Yeah, he looked like the underdog. That's the better way to say it. But you kind of.
You knew how good and Rock was. I like the couple of moves where he grabbed One Man Gang's beard and jumped over the top rope with his beard in hand.
Yeah, that was nice.
Quite fun.
Yeah, it was okay. But like I say,
the crowd seemed quiet, man. I think
it's a long. I mean, they do that. They've had that these days with Wrestlemanias and Royal Rumbles. It's
so long.
You can't have people sitting there for that long.
No.
But yeah,
I think it was because of the Andre Hogan match that sort of peaked at that point really, and they weren't going to get vocal till later on. One Man Gang starts to attack Macho with Six Clan whilst the ref was distracted by Elizabeth, but then the ref turned around and spots it. I don't think One Man Gang actually hits Macho. I think he just misses a few times, but whatever. Whatever. There was at the end of the match, Macho did a double axe handle off the top rope, hits One Man Gang, and he falls onto Slick. So it was a
nice little moment.
Yeah, it was all right. Just a match. It didn't do out, man.
Just a match.
Yeah.
I know, man. I wish, I'd have had One Man Gang win it.
Really?
I'm a one-man gang.
I like one-man gang, but not of a match, I don't think.
I'm a one-man gang, man.
So next up, the Tag Team Championship match. We have Demolition, Axe and Smash with Mr. Fuji versus Strikeforce, Rick Martel and Tito Santana.
Kane comes out again. This one.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does. Mr. Fuji is sporting his eye makeup when entering with the Bondage Boys because it was in full bondage gear. Strikeforce champions come down to the most 80s theme song.
I do feel like if the Ascension ripped off Demolition, they'd have more luck.
Potentially.
Get him in some bondage gear. Anyway,
it quickly descends into 4 men in the ring at the start of the match. The Strikeforce, they were a talented tag team. Tito was wonderful in the ring. Rick had a great solo run.
Huge,
but there was no identity, man.
Yeah.
So I think they were over at pay-per-views that we've done before. I think by this point the people had lost interest because they didn't have an identity or a gimmick.
Excuse me, I finally managed my Hogan pose. I did a yawn and just fucking turned it into a Hogan pose. I finally did it.
Sweet, man. Every yawn should turn into a Hogan pose.
So
you wouldn't buy a Strikeforce action figure, would you? No, you'd buy a Demolition action figure.
And there was, a couple of Ron Bass and all these kind of people that were kind of brushing over on this series, and I do apologise. I feel like we haven't. I feel like there's a lot of just guys. Don't really make.
There's a lot of guys. But Tito was a great wrestler, man.
Yeah, load of dudes, sausage fest.
Both of these had great solo careers and great solo characters as well.
The model again was model Rick Martel was a massively underrated heel.
It was great.
He should have had more success in my opinion.
He should have.
Tito. I'm less of a fan.
Tito was great, especially in the early days, man.
I'm less of a fan of Tito than I am of Rick Martel. I thought Rick Martel.
I think he was a better wrestler, Tito, for me.
Perhaps a better performer.
No, I don't necessarily say performer. I think Rick Martel had, especially with his model gimmick, was a more iconic performer. I think Tito was a great wrestler, especially in the early days in Wrestlemania 1.
Like a Dolph Ziggler, where really just good but not
don't ever get it.
Out. Yeah.
But I thought Martel looked quick in the ring in this match. It just white pants and white knee pads are boring. Whilst Tito and Fuji are arguing with the ref, Axe uses Fuji's cane to attack Martel, and Smash gets the pin. New tag team champions, and this was the start of the record-breaking run. So
which was only ended
recently with a New Day.
New Day.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
Next up, we have the final match of the tournament. So the final match of this is the heavyweight champion. There's a couple of bits to go over before we get to that. Robin Leach brings down the heavyweight belt with sensual piano music playing.
Sensual.
I don't know, man. It was real weird. And he was walking with a pillowcase like it was really smooth.
Like a fucking baby. What are you doing?
He takes it over to Donald Trump so Donald Trump can get his greasy paws on it.
What a dickhead.
Bob Uecker's the guest announcer. He gets a cuddle from a smoking fan as he's walking into the ring. There was a fan that was just smoking in the middle of the ramp. Gets a cuddle off him. Security quickly dealt with him after he's sort of moved on, but I love little details like that, man.
Yeah, it's good, man. You see, this is great because I'm like, let's focus on matches, and you're like, dude was smoking.
Production,
went for a cuddle. That's it. It's the game you're in, brother. It's the game you're in.
Guest timekeeper was Vanna White, and she got a massive pop, man. Bigger than most of the wrestlers of the night. The Wheel of Fortune music's played. I think that was it. And it's the most excited the crowd's been since the Hogan match, and she gets a little kiss off Trump.
Of course. I bet did he grab her in the pussy?
Jesus, dude, no.
No, I'm saying that's horrible. That
was way too far.
Really, was it?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Sorry, I don't support it at all. But I just, maybe this was the start. Maybe this was the start of Trump's horrible way.
No, he didn't. He didn't grab her in her foo-foo.
I feel terrible now.
Randy Savage with Miss Elizabeth versus Ted Dibiase with Andre the Giant. What's up?
Oh man,
What are you thinking about?
Everyone's going to think I'm a Trump supporter. I do not support that behaviour.
You can support it. Politics don't matter. It's wrestling.
It's wrestling.
Wrestling.
I'll fucking rip his toupee off. I'll shove it in his face.
So prior to this match, Hogan had saved Savage from a 3-on-1 attack from Andre, Dibiase and Virgil. So that's sort of a little bit of the mega powers coming through there.
Intimidating, isn't it, with Virgil there?
Yeah, but Andre and Dibiase
with his Olive Garden vouchers.
There was no music when Ted Dibiase entered the ring, man. I loved his. Money. Oh, sing it.
Money, 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 money.
Yeah, Ted Dibiase.
I've got a laugh too now. What the fuck that was?
It was a good laugh, dude. A good laugh.
Everybody's got a price.
Everybody's got a price.
Everybody's gonna pay.
Yeah, I missed it, man. So the match starts. Macho gets tripped early on by Andre, who's outside the ring, and the crowd start chanting for Hogan to neutralise Andre. It happens again, and Macho falls over. Ted Dibiase goes for an elbow, which Macho quickly rolls out of. That was probably one of the best little spots of the night, actually. Falls over really quickly. Macho Man's Ted Dibiase is like halfway in the air going for his, because he used to do some really high elbows, didn't he? Going to land on it. Macho quickly moved out of the way. Really tight little spot. Enjoyed that enough to write it down, which means it was good.
It was good, yeah.
Crowd are way too civilised though for a wrestling match.
Well, they're fucking knackered.
Well, partly that, but also I think, Trump in the front row doesn't help that, does
what a
it?
knobhead.
These...
I'm really emphasising the fact that I dislike him now.
Apparently
in case we get any,
I
in case we get any, like people just being like, oh, the gay guys, giving a whole guys, fucking Trump supporters. We're not.
We have no political preference.
We have no political preference. I will. Like if he bans our podcast, we're slandering him. I'm gonna fuck you up.
Yeah, he might nuke our podcast. No, not whole. These two work well together, and some great spots with great speed. Yeah. They've always done it.
They had some wicked showing. It was a good match over the years. Actually, these two.
Yeah. So Andre protects Dibiase when he goes out the ring. Stands there. Macho can't get around him. So Macho goes to whisper to Elizabeth to go backstage. What could he possibly be whispering? What do you think he said to Elizabeth?
Mate,
go backstage and offer Hogan your body to come and help me.
There's some seriously kinky shit going on between the three of them.
Do you think?
Oh man,
there's a great quote actually later on by one of them. Yeah, it's funny.
I reckon that was some weird shit going down. The mega powers, man.
The mega powers, yeah. I think so. Elizabeth runs backstage, gives Hogan a blowy, maybe.
Fucking hell. Yeah, well, you know, I've seen that Hogan sex tape more times than I'd like to tell you.
Have you really? I've never been interested in. No.
Watch his little white bum. He's got a proper white bum because he's proper tanned.
He is proper tanned.
I bet there was some proper sessions.
Probably.
I don't like to be. I don't like to
wrestling.
I don't like to slander people. Defamatory comments. But I mean, Miss Elizabeth right in the middle there. That was. Yeah.
Not seen and.
Yeah, anyway.
Quite interested all of a sudden. So Hogan comes out with Elizabeth. Next time Andre interferes, Hogan attacks him. Ted Dibiase had another great elbow spot.
Yeah.
The most electrifying move in sports entertainment. The elbow drop. What modern day move is devastating as an elbow drop like that isn't as devastating?
When Caster's the Empire elbow, I'm just like, what the fuck? It's
not the best finisher, is it? What other weak?
The people's elbow is the worst finisher in the world.
Possibly, yeah.
They had. That's terrible thing. Just what was Santino's fucking Cobra?
Yeah, there's a lot of crossbodies as well. That was never
fucking
great,
Cobra, which was basically just a tap, wasn't it?
I don't know, man.
Umaga's.
I didn't really see much.
What? Oh man,
I didn't see much of some.
The Cobra, and then you had Umaga doing the death grip thing. Oh no, was it Meng? He did the death grip thing.
Well, if you look at it, I mean, the mandible claws are not. It's putting your hand in someone's.
Yeah, but
it was sold really well. It was sold really well.
No, because the idea was he pushed down.
Yeah.
So that would be fucking agonising.
Yeah, but he didn't really do that. It's wrestling. Macho Man.
I just had a flashback, man. When I tried to put the mandible claw on someone in school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used to be so. Oh man, I've done. Yeah, I failed miserably. I'm a terrible human being.
Did you?
Yeah,
Did you make the crooked gag?
I used to love like Mankind and the mandible claw.
Oh.
Literally, there's a moment there where I just had a proper flashback. I'm looking at you. You missed it, and I was just like. And I call back. Yeah, it's a bad time. Don't try this at home. You'll end up like me.
Macho Man slams Dibiase from the top rope to quickly try and get an elbow, but misses.
Yeah.
Hulk jumps in when Dibiase has Macho in the sleeper and attacks him with a chair. Heelish moves for Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd still love him.
He's all about them tonight, man.
He was, yeah. Macho, he loved a chair tonight. Macho with the elbow drop for the victory, and it was a match. You're putting me off, man.
I'm so inappropriate tonight.
Macho Man with the elbow drop for the victory, and that was a really nice elbow. Ted Dibiase was over.
That whole ending was great.
Ted Dibiase was over halfway past the end of the ring, and it really went to the other side of the ring for it. Really nice. Xavier Woods has been dropping some good elbows recently. Man. I don't know if you've noticed.
He does. He does it from. Yeah, he springs off the rope, doesn't he?
Yeah, really he does. Good. Yeah, really good.
I would venture to say that there's nobody better since Savage at the elbow than Xavier Woods. CM Punk did a decent enough job, but
Xavier's great, especially with the extra bounce off the
Xavier
ropes.
Woods, he did an incredible job.
Next up, so we've got Hogan and Macho celebrating together. The birth of the Mega Powers, basically.
It's one of my favourite, like I was saying to you, it's one of my favourite moments in the history of wrestling.
Yeah, you was a big fan of this, weren't you?
Massive, just that moment, moment of camaraderie.
Gorilla says, what a threesome, Jesse.
Yeah.
Do you know when a wrestler just says something and you're just like, oh no, man.
That was my $1 million. Oh shit.
So originally, we've talked a little bit throughout and we've not really mentioned, originally it was supposed to be Ted Dibiase who was winning this tournament. However, due to Honky hitting the microphone, so originally it was supposed to be Ted Dibiase that won the tournament. However, due to Honky refusing to drop the Intercontinental belt to Savage earlier on in the year, the company didn't want to have two heels in the company with the top belts, and that's part of the reason that shortly after $1 Million Man would get his $1 Million championship. Yep. Which again was great, but it is quite sad, and it's great to see Macho with his moment of getting the heavyweight championship.
Yeah.
But it's sad that Ted Dibiase never had that either, because Ted Dibiase was a great heel.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, Macho Man was great.
That'd be another nice little top 5 or top 10. I think top 10 would be good for this. Most deserving superstars, in your opinion, that never made it. Mine would be just reeling her off. Top 2 would be Ted Dibiase and Jake the Snake.
Jake the Snake is another one. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get to more as we cover them.
Please do.
Quickly, the gay star rating.
3.
Wow,
I'm always
high,
quite
man.
kind. I'm always quite kind with these. Yeah, 3.
1.5 for me. I don't think it was as good as the Wrestling Classic ultimately. Best match of the night. I'm giving it to, while you think about it, I'm giving it to Don Muraco and Dino Bravo.
It was good. They had their best. They had their best showing, man. They had their best showing. I like the tag match, the tag team title.
Really?
Yeah. Sorry, the 6-man tag match. Rather, sorry.
There was no 6-man tag match.
I'm trying.
The one with Bobby Heenan.
Jesus, I'm fucking sure we've just been through this. This is the longest one we've done, I think.
It will be,
yeah. So I would say the 6-man tag match was great.
Really? I thought you preferred the Hogan Macho, the Macho Ted Dibiase, because that was a big part of your childhood, wasn't it, man? It got you into wrestling.
One of the reasons, yeah. More the finish though, more the emotion.
Oh,
the emotion attached to it.
The threesome.
And
on that note, thank you very much for watching the podcast. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Patreon. Go give us a like. We're getting a really great community there, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you for all your support.
Thank you.
Sorry for being totes in a probes tonight. I apologise. I've just itched my nose as well. We've got to shake hands now.
No, dude. I'm going to mandible claw you in a minute.
What do you mean?
Why are we shaking hands?
Because I don't want to fucking argue with you about any more of these fucking matches. We're about
There is going to be so many more arguments as we go on. It's all good though, man. Opinion's good. Opinion's good.
Keep it gay.
Keep it gay. Thank you.